Hey, good morning. So today we're going to do an inside cook, and it's going to take a few hours, and we're going to do it in the slow cooker. So not too long ago, I saw this recipe from Bayless. If you don't know him, he's one of my favorite south of the border chefs. He has Mexican restaurants all over the place, and it's really good. I've used a few of his recipes, or at least his ideas. This one I pretty much stole. I'm going to do a couple of my own twists, but not enough to call it my own. So I'm going to give him full credit, and I will link to his video in the description. But I decided to do these Cowboy Beans or Charro beans a few weeks back, and I love them. I've done them a couple of times since. I love having them in the fridge. They last a while. I love just heating them up. This time I'm going to do something to save them and have them on hand for the future. So I'm going to show you the recipe. We'll go through the ingredients first, and then we'll get this going. And it's really pretty easy. So thanks again for joining, and let's get started. So I've decided not to show any of the prep for this. I'm just going to go through the ingredients, tell you what I'm going to do to get each one ready, and we'll go from there. I'll bring you back with everything prepped and ready. So first of all, we have a pound 16-ounce bag of pinto beans. I'm just going to rinse these off. I'm also going to make sure there's nothing like rocks or anything in them. I have not had that problem the last couple of times I've done this, but you never know. I've also got a white onion, going to get this diced up. I'm going to do it fairly small because the kids think they don't like onions. I think they're wrong. They do like onions, but whatever. I've also got some garlic cloves, about 4 of them. I'm going to get that prepped just by crushing it and getting it ready. I've got 2 jalapenos that I just picked this morning. We have a lot of them out still on the plants, and so we got to figure out ways to use those. So I'm going to use 2 of them. I might de-seed one. I'm going to leave the seeds and ribs in at least one of them to get a little spice. I've got fire roasted tomatoes here. I'm going to use 2 cans because I'm going to do this whole bag of beans. I did this one time with just regular diced tomatoes because either I couldn't find fire roasted or we already had just regular diced. I can't remember. But the fire roasted I found really adds something to this. You really want to have fire roasted tomatoes. So that's what I'm using. The meat I'm going to use, and we're going to use this to start the cook, is some pork belly from Wild Fork Foods. This actually has the skin on, so I'm going to take the skin off. You could use bacon here. You could also use some pork butt cut into, small pieces. All we're doing is trying to get some fat in here. Fat is flavor. The only thing I don't have out yet that I'm going to wait for is some cilantro, and I also might add some scallions or green onions. The pork belly and the green onions are about the only difference, I think, from Rick's recipe that I'm following. He did it in a pressure cooker, which I've done, and it works great. Today I'm going to use a slow cooker, mostly because it was already up here from something that we made last night. So we're going to use a slow cooker. Plus, probably more people have a slow cooker than a pressure cooker or an Instapot. I'm not sure, but we're going to do it in the slow cooker. So I'm going to get all this prepped, and then we'll get this cook started. Okay, so I have everything prepped. Our crock pot has a saute function, so that's what I'm using to start. If you don't have a crock pot that has that function, you can do this in a skillet and then transfer it to a crock pot. That would be fine. But I'm just going to get this pork belly dumped in. This is still preheating, so it's going to be a minute, but we're just going to let this start and get a good sear on it and let it start to render, and then we will be back. Okay, so our pork belly is rendering, smelling really good. Doesn't smell like bacon because it's just plain old belly. Bacon, again, is totally fine to use in this. So we're going to get some color on this, render it down a little more. One thing that Rick advises is if you don't render a lot of fat, since all bacon and meat might be different in its fat content, that you'll want to have a little oil on hand. Olive oil is great. That's what I'll use if I need to. But the next step is going to be to dump our peppers, onions, and garlic in the pan and saute them a little bit. And you want to have enough oil in order to do that. So we're going to let this keep going. I'll bring you back and we'll see if we need to add oil here or not. This has probably got another 5, 8, 10 minutes, something like that. All right. So I think we are going to add just a little bit of oil to this. Got some olive oil here, some of this Grasso, which I'm kind of really liking. There we go. This is looking good. And we're going to go ahead and get the garlic, the onion, and the jalapeno in. And let that start working. There we go. So we're going to let that go for a little bit, going to let it sweat. I don't want any caramelization, but let that onion get a little translucent, soften up the jalapeno a little bit. Okay, these are looking really good and the kitchen is smelling even better. So next we're going to add our can of tomatoes. Actually, we're going to add 2 cans of tomatoes. And you'll kind of use these to deglaze the pan, but this particular pan really doesn't need deglazing. But we are going to let this come together for a minute before we go on to the next step. So I'm just going to stir it for a minute or two, and then we'll go from there. So see you in a minute. All right, so we're going to add our beans next. So I went through these just to make sure there weren't any rocks or whatever, and I rinsed them off. They were fine. They were pretty clean too, but I still like to rinse them. And we're just going to put them in. All right, stir those around. And then the last thing we're going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn this off of the saute mode and onto the slow cook mode. So I'm going to stop that, change to slow cook, and we're going to go on high for 4 hours. There we go. And now we're just going to add 5 to 6 cups of water. I'm actually, I've got around 6 cups in here, but I'm probably going to add a little less because I actually added, one thing I like is more tomatoes, so I actually added 2 cans of fire roasted tomatoes instead of 1. I'll put the general recipe in here, or in the description. And a little more. That's probably good. And then one more thing, we're going to add a little salt. I always want to be careful. You can always add salt later. But that pork belly wasn't salted. If you're using bacon, you might, I would still add some salt, but I wouldn't add all that you think you might need until after you taste them. And that's going to be it. So there's nothing to see here for 4 hours. So I'm going to put the lid on the cooker and we're going to let this go and we will bring you back. Okay, we're not quite 2 hours in. I have stirred this a couple of times. Going to go ahead and stir it now. It's thickening up for sure. Looking good. Smelling even better. So these are going well, I think. Again, not really much to do. Just as an aside for this video, I have got a flank steak here that I cooked at the lake camp and then brought it home and vacuum sealed it in the chamber vac, and I thought it would go good with these beans. So it's frozen solid. I'm gonna put it in sous vide water. I've got that set for 132 degrees. Honestly, I actually think that I overcooked this flank steak, but we like our beef around 132, so that's what I'm gonna set it at. And we're just gonna let this go for a few hours. It should thaw and warm up and it'll go good with the beans. So we'll bring you back in a couple hours. Okay, it's been almost 4 hours. Our beans are pretty well done. I've had this open 5 or 6 times, just giving them a stir. Man, they're good. I did add a couple of ingredients, some salt. Definitely needed more salt. Did that probably 3 or 4 different times, just kept trying it and making sure. So good. And I went ahead and added some Better Than Bouillon, just a scoopful of beef, just because I had it ready to go, and I just felt like it needed a little umami. Totally optional ingredient. Not a big deal, but I think it goes well. So I've got some green onion. I love these spring onions. They had some really good looking ones at the store today. And I'm just gonna add that here at the end. Not much, I just love them. And I think it'll go well. So we're gonna keep this on just a little bit longer, mostly because I'm letting our flank steak warm up, and it's probably pretty close to ready. But we're gonna pull it out and cut it. And I think I'll make myself a little burrito bowl type of thing. So we'll be back. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this meat. Just brought it out of the sous vide. I meant to open it on camera, but I forgot. So I just cut the side out of it. Oh man, it smells like the charcoal grill. I cooked it on, what did I cook it on? Oh, the Weber kettle. Feels nice and tender. I think, how do I want to do this? I think we'll go on the bias. I'm gonna go across the grain. Let's see how we did. Yeah, I thought I overcooked it, so it's definitely not as pink as I'd like it. It's still good though. Really good actually. So I don't think I'm going to cut this whole thing. I'm going to just cut a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut these in half. This video wasn't really about the meat anyway. Okay, so let me switch the camera position. We'll build this taco bowl and we'll be done. Be right back. So let's look at the beans real quick. They've been off, looks like 16 minutes, so it's just on its warming function. So here's some things about the beans. If you find that they're too thin, too watery, if you will, you can take some out, maybe a cup, something like that, throw it in an immersion blender, blend it up, dump them back in. That'll thicken it up. I had to do that once. I got that straight from Rick Bayless. These, I think I'm pretty good with the consistency. So let's give them a try here. Still hot. Still hot. So good. All right. We'll bring you right back. Okay, I hope I'm in the camera. So let's make our little steak taco bowl. So I've just got some lettuce here, and we're gonna go in with some beans. No rice for me right now. I'm kind of laying off the carbs. So rice would be good though, for sure. Gonna throw some beans on there. No particular order. I've got some chopped onions. I love raw onions. I have both a white onion and a green onion in here. I've got some fresh grated Monterey Jack cheese. Fresh grated, always better. But in the same breath, we're going to use a packaged Kirkland brand, so Costco brand guacamole. It's actually pretty good. Don't judge me. Just going to throw that on. I'm doing this in a wacky order. Going to go ahead and throw our flank steak on. Again, just threw it back in the sous vide frozen. Was in there 2.5 hours, something like that. And then we've got some of this Salvadorian crema, which is my favorite. I think I've said this before, but it sort of reminds me of the Chipotle sour cream. Just kind of runny, and it's really good. So, if you like beans, and frankly, beans have never been my favorite, but these are so good. I would definitely encourage you to give them a try. I think last but not least, we're going to grab a spoon. I've got some fermented salsa here that I did myself with tomatoes from the garden, jalapenos from the garden, and an organic onion that I got from the store. It's really good. And there we go. So there's our taco bowl made with the beans here that were really the purpose of the video. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. Check out Rick Bayless below. I totally copied him. The link will be in the description. And give these a try. See you next time.